to call to order a meeting of Cortland City Council. Today is Monday, December 16th, 2024. Invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or remain standing for a brief prayer. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to serve you and to serve the city. We ask for your wisdom and guidance on the decisions before us this evening. We ask this in your name. Amen. Rhonda, come roll call, please.
Jim Bradley.
Here.
Kathy Fleischer.
Here.
Dick McLean.
Here.
Don Moore.
Here.
John Mercuri.
Here.
Scott Rowley.
Here.
Kevin Tyrus.
Here. We have a motion for the approval of minutes from the December 2nd, 2024 council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections? Rhonda, come roll call, please.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. Okay, we have a motion for the approval of schedule of bills to be paid totaling $107,680.55.
Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. We have a motion for the approval of bank reconciliation ending November 30th of 2024.
Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, roll call, please.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. Okay, we have a couple of items of old business this evening. First up is ordinance O-70-24, an ordinance authorizing an expenditure by the City of Cortland Police Department in the amount of $6,814.41 as its yearly subscription to Lexipol. This is the second reading submitted by the police chief. Can I have a motion, please? Second. Any questions? Rhonda, come roll call.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-71-24, an ordinance amending ordinance O-01-22, establishing the terms of employment for the part-time firefighters/paramedics, firefighters/EMT-B, and fire inspectors of the city of Cortland. This is an emergency submitted by the fire chief. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions?
No, nothing's changed since the last meeting, but, give us a second chance, and we're
And the reason
passing
for
an
the
emergency.
Is,
The reason for the emergency is it gets us on the first pay of the year instead of having to do any split pays, or part of the year was at this pay and then the rest of the year is at that pay. We're gonna start the year off the first pay of the year with the new rate.
thank you, chief. Any questions? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Mercuri.
Yes.
Kevin Tyrus.
Yes. Okay, that concludes our old business. We're gonna move on to new business. First up is resolution R-59-24, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Cortland, Ohio, to place her signature on the replat of lots 3A and 4A of the replat of lots 2, 3, and 4 of Walnut Run Estates Phase 2, instrument 2024-05-0005451, in section 10 of the original survey of Bezetta Township, now situated within the city of Cortland, Trumbull County, Ohio. This is submitted by the Planning, Zoning, and Building Commission. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
This is a replat, and it's just moving the property line between 120 and 130 Fairway Drive. It's like a little sliver.
Gotcha.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Mayor. Any questions? right, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John Burkett?
Yes.
Scott Riley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kevin Pyro?
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-72-24, an ordinance changing the zoning classification for .2170 acres of land located behind 136 St. Andrews in Walnut Runs Estate, Phase 2 from R15 to R12 Residential District. This is the first reading submitted by the Planning, Zoning, and Building Commission. May I have a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Okay, what I want to do is read into that we had a public hearing this evening on this particular rezoning request. There were, the attorney, Nader, was here representing the request. There were no additional folks speaking on behalf, nor were there any additional folks against this zoning change. This zoning change originally came to the Planning and Zoning Commission on November 12th, where it passed unanimously. Dee Dee, do you have anything to add to that?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions of council? All right. On the counter roll call.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John Burkett?
Yes.
Scott Riley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Kevin Pyro?
Yes. All right, next is ordinance O-73-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with CT Consultants, Inc. for professional design services for the outdoor event space and landscape project located on West Main Street. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please? So moved. Second. May I have a motion on the emergency, please? So moved.
Second.
Mayor, is there, the reason for the emergency is?
Before price increases in 2025.
Any questions?
They're just gonna do, this is just a plan, not construction drawings. If we like the conceptual plan that they give us, then we have the opportunity to move forward with them or another, landscape architectural firm.
And just so, this is the parking lot that we acquired or we purchased from Farmers.
Correct.
All right, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
John Burkett?
Yes.
Scott Riley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
Kevin Pyro?
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John Burkett?
Yes.
Scott Riley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Kevin Pyro?
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-74-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to contract with Moody's Water Supply Services LLC for the purchase and installation of 2 well pumps and motors for 2 of the city's water wells. This is an emergency submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please? So moved. Second. Now you have something from the service director.
I do. Well 7 located on Bradley had to be shut down because it stopped pumping water. Cause is unknown. It is believed to be a faulty check valve or possibly a hole in a pipe that leads to the surface. We will not find out the problem until everything can be removed from the well and analyzed. The pump and the motor are about 13 years old, nearing its life expectancy. Because we'll have everything removed from the well, we thought it would be wise to replace the pump and motor now instead of doing this again in the near future and incurring labor costs again. The cost presented represents the replacement of everything. If something is found to not need replaced, for instance, the piping, it will not be replaced and we will not be charged. The second one, well number 6, as we have learned from the other wells we've recently replaced, a reduction in water production means that the pumps and motors need replaced. They're nearing the end of their useful life. Well number 6 behind City Hall has seen a severe reduction in water production in the last few years. this is the last well, along with pump number 7, to receive new pipes and motors. So, with the replacement of number 6 and 7, the system in its entirety will be at top efficiency. So, they're coming out once, and they will be addressing both wells.
One that's currently not working, and the other one is severely underperforming.
Correct.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions? All right, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency?
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
John Moore.
Yes.
John Burkeri.
Yes.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes, and now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley. Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
John Moore.
Yes.
John Burkeri.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. And next is ordinance O-75-24, an ordinance amending ordinance O-27-24, and the City of Cortland's Business Facade Grant Program. This is the first reading submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Anything on that, Mayor?
Yes. In 2023 and 2024, we set aside funds, general funds, $15,000 each to do business facade grants. We still have $24,000 of that remaining. We've awarded 4 grants. And so since the initial period is over, this legislation allows us to keep continuing to roll over the funds year after year until all the initial funding has been spent.
And if my memory serves me correct, it is businesses can apply for a 25% rebate of the first $10,000 of exterior upgrades to their business, which include windows, siding,
Painting, we've had
the Opera House.
pressure washing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and if anyone's interested, there are applications still available on the website, or you can always call here and we can mail them out to you,
So
whatever you need.
it's a free $2,500, up to $2,500 for businesses to improve their exterior look. So that's a great program.
But the maximum's 30,000 for accumulating that money?
We're spending it down, yeah. We have, we started with 30,000, we have 24 now, and we'll just continue to spend it down
We're not
until,
gonna add any more to it?
not at this point. Not until there's, we reach zero.
Now, Mayor, if we observe a business that would be benefit from this, we as a city can approach that business and say, hey, if you paint, we can give you up to $2,500 of your first $10,000.
Sure,
Okay.
I don't think it would hurt
I think
to inform
there's-
people who are
yeah.
unaware. That's
Okay.
fine.
I have a couple that I'd like to reach out to that may not know about this, but it would, it's a win-win for the city and for the property owner.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Any other questions? Hey, Rhonda, can I roll call, please?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
John Moore.
Yes.
John Burkeri.
Yes.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-76-24, an ordinance authorizing change orders with Utility Contracting, Inc. for the Fairway Drive Bridge Replacement Project PID 115022. This is an emergency submitted by the Service Director. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please? Second.
Kevin, because I'm employed by ODOT and ODOT is involved in this project, I will be abstaining.
John? Any questions?
I have some information from the Service Director. With the completion of Fairway Drive culvert replacement, we have 2 change orders, the force account and final quantity. The force account included relocating the 8-inch water main around the footer and removing an existing stone. The existing water main was shown on the plans to be beyond the footprint of the new culvert. However, when excavating for the footer on the south end of the culvert, the existing water main was found to be located further north than what the plans have stated, and would end up in the new footer, so they had to move it. They had no choice but to relocate the water line around the new footer. In addition to relocating the water line, a new main line valve was installed so the culvert area could be isolated and no property owner would be out of water for more than a few hours. As for the stump, it was severely undermined by the stream and we thought it best to remove it. It was close enough to the new culvert that if it were to fall into the stream, it could possibly damage the new box or wing wall. Change order number 2 amounted to adjustments to the quantities to represent what was installed. Highlight some of the larger adjustments, additional curb was needed since we eliminated the openings for the old golf course path. The plans only called for rock channel protection on the upstream side of the culvert, downstream needed protection also, and the plan severely underestimated the amount of seeding and mulching needed.
The seeding and mulching would have been property restoration.
Correct. Oh, yeah.
Any questions? All right, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency list?
John Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Abstain.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Abstain.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-77-24, an ordinance amending the annual appropriation ordinance O-63-24 for the city of Cortland, county of Trumbull, state of Ohio, for fiscal year ending on the 31st day of December 2024. This is an emergency submitted by the finance director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? This is normal, what happens in December as bills come in and funds come in, so, you'll see this every year in December. So this is a normal, just prepare for year end.
And a couple of things that I can see on here, for example, the Mosquito Creek Lake Park improvements, that was zeroed out. So basically, what they did was they closed that purchase order, had to close it, and then she'll reopen it. So it's zero now, 2025 then, it will reopen at $404,000. Same as the salt storage bin, which has been taken down to zero, and we have a $75,000 grant for that.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other additional questions? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And roll call on the ordinance, please.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-78-24, an ordinance providing for the council of the city of Cortland, Ohio, to appropriate funds for the operation of various funds of the city of Cortland, Ohio, and its political subdivisions for 2025. This is an emergency submitted by the finance director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Again, this is a normal December thing, gets us prepared so we can start paying bills January 1st. Those who want to be paid, want to be paid. All right, any questions? All right, Donna, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
John Moore.
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And roll call on the ordinance, please.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. All right, the last of the new business is ordinance O-79-24, an ordinance authorizing the service director to purchase 2 generators from Buckeye Power to service city water wells and the proposed new city safety service complex. This is an emergency submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
Something from the service director?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, as you know, the Trumbull County Commissioners have granted the city, $300,000 for new generators for 6 of our 7 wells. As with all ARPA money and its county's request, we need to show movement with this project. Because of the lead time for these generators, 8 to 12 months currently, we need to get these generators ordered, not only be in compliance with the ARPA rules, but to have them delivered in time so they can be installed while we still have the CMR, the construction manager at risk working on safety services complex. We only received 2 quotes back from the 6 that were solicited. We are following the recommendation of our engineer, K2M, and awarding the generator purchase to Buckeye Power Sales, who quoted a Kohler generator. Even though they weren't the lowest of the 2 prices, the other company quoted a Blue Star system generator. Blue Star's only been in existence for less than 20 years. So we are looking for long-term reliability, and Kohler is felt to be the better option for long-term reliability and ease of repair. So, anybody have any questions on that?
Any questions? Thank you, Mayor. All right, Rodney, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Kerry,
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Kerry,
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. All right, that concludes our new business. We are now going to move on to our various department reports. Do you have anything additional from the service department?
I do not at this time.
Do we have any questions that can be forwarded from council to the service department? All right. Next up is the finance department. Patty.
And I made it just.
And you, I mean, you couldn't have planned it any better, so.
Well, she's just around the corner, so it's good. You have my report. I did want to let you guys know that the ARPA money we received has all been obligated. Our requirement is to have it obligated by the 31st of the year. We are sub-recipients from the county and the state on other grants of ARPA money. As a sub-recipient, we have a contract that does not follow the December 31st obligation. So all of our money is obligated by law, so we're good to go. Any questions?
Any questions? Patty?
Thank you.
All right, next up, police department, Chief Morris.
I got nothing to report.
I got you.
What do you guys have?
It took longer for you to
It did, I almost
than to
did
give
it
your report.
from my chair, but Patty stood me up.
Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, fire department, Chief Ray, can you beat that?
Oh, hell, I can beat that. You have my report, and, as most of you should got in your packet, we've got a Marks grant awarded, last week, so it doesn't pay for any equipment. This is the second year we actually got the Marks grant. Last year's did pay for a bunch of equipment that we put in the vehicles and for some of our, guys. This is gonna pay our service fees for a year. So we really won't have a whole lot out of pocket for our Marks radio system. Other than that, you got my monthly report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Does that system work well, Chief?
Yes, in Cortland does. You know, we still have some some spots where it doesn't. I have addressed that by putting mobile repeaters in the vehicles to pick up on places, you know, anytime we go below grade, say a basement, but having a mobile repeater should pick that up. They're finishing up an antenna in Brookfield, just a monstrous thing, over 400 and some feet high, which should get the valley that runs from Brookfield all the way up to Kinsman through Fowler. It should pick up all the traffic down through there. So once that's up and running, it should be a really nice system. The bottom line is it's the digital system is the way it'll work. We were on an analog system that is, they're not even making the parts for it anymore. So we really didn't have a choice to, not go.
So that was
And-
a problem.
And federal mandates too.
That was the problem with Marks, was that missing geographical area?
For some of the
There were
areas,
other
yes.
issues, weren't
Yeah,
there?
for some of the areas, to get it up and running, Marks took existing towers and people that would give them land for free to build their antennas. And some of those weren't necessarily in optimal spots. The one in Trumbull County sits up on the hill on the east side, and it's a little too far back on that hill to be able to look down into that valley. So building this antenna where it is, it should look straight up that valley into Kinsman. They finished an antenna up in Cherry Valley a year and a half ago, give or take, which helps come in from that way. So, you know, the more they build the system in, the better it will be. But I could tell you in Cortland, it works pretty well. You know, we do have really good coverage, you know, one wall coverage, which means one wall inside a residence is really all they guarantee. You know, I was talking to our Trumbull County dispatch while I sat down in Columbus on a portable radio, if that tells you anything, at the Chiefs Convention. So, that's the system, once it's all up and running, that's how it's supposed to run.
It's supposed to help with interagency communications.
They're supposed to, yeah, yeah. It's supposed to, once the agencies get their hands in it, they do things that they shouldn't have, and we, you know, end up can't talk to people. But we just, it's a complete system. The nice part is, should we ever get activated, or we have an emergency where we have to activate state, federal, or local resources, that system travels with us. So the channels
If
are
there were
already there.
drones flying around, you could communicate with them.
No, I'm not gonna communicate with those. As soon as the drone goes up in Trumbull County, the air base knows it's up there. And they can actually capture that drone and fly it back to their base. So we sit in a pretty good area, for those drones. I wouldn't worry about it in this area.
Why can't the other people do that?
Well, they probably don't have a military facility around them, especially an air military facility. So once the drone goes up to Trumbull County, the air base knows about it. As soon as it gets in the air. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about the drones over here.
Any questions?
Yeah, how did your Toys for Tots program go?
It went well. They picked up twice. I don't know if they're gonna have another one. Sometimes they'll do a last minute pickup, before they hand them out, but yeah, it went really well. They came out and picked up twice, and I saw the angel tree went well too.
It did, yes.
So I'm very happy with it once again, and I'd like to thank, everyone that helped support, the Toys for Tots, that we've done for the past couple decades.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told you I could be,
Yeah.
every time.
All right. Mayor's report.
Okay, well, just a segue from the fire chief, the angel tree did go well, touch and go to the last day, but we had, one of our service department workers reached out to the community, and, all of them were taken and returned, and we had two pickups as well. It's been busy, so, I'm just gonna keep this brief. We did have our business, mix and mingle on December 3rd. That was well attended. We probably have between 40 and 50 businesses there at Country Porch Winery, and that was, hosted by Lou Woolham Chevrolet, and that food was sponsored by the Chevy All-Stars. So, Christmas is coming up. So our offices will be closed on Tuesday the 24th and Wednesday the 25th. Republic Services Trash and Recycling will be delayed one day due to the holiday, and New Year's Day, the city offices will also be closed, and again, Republic Services Trash and Recycling will be delayed one day. East Lake Sled Hill is open, weather permitting from, 51 degree weather today, and rain did not help. It is open from dawn to dusk for sledding, and that's about all I have. Anybody have any questions? Oh, have I reported? I don't think I reported since Washington talked with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, that was regarding the hydraulic problems and ongoing efforts there, was very informational. We talked to Representative Max Miller, we talked to Bernie Moreno, Senator Bernie Moreno's new transition staff and his chief of staff, who will be staying on afterwards. And then we had the opportunity to speak with Representative David Joyce, who is the one who sponsored our $3.5 million ask through the our safety service complex. Went through subcommittee, went through committee. We're just waiting on federal budget to pass, and we've had some continuing resolutions which will expire on the 20th, and just the current feeling is that we're not going to see a full federal budget probably until March, which is what we've been talking about. So, got to continue to sit tight and have faith in Representative Joyce, which I do. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions of the mayor? All right. Do we have any council committee reports this evening?
Before the meeting, TRC met quickly about the temporary sign ordinance that we currently have on the books. We had a short discussion about some changes we'd like to make. That will be discussed again at the Planning and Zoning Regulations Review Committee meeting, before the first council meeting in January. And then after that, it will likely go to planning and zoning for them to have a discussion to council. And John has done a lot of research and spent many hours trying to rewrite this legislation, so he's going to read a little bit of that.
Yeah, if I may. I was contacted by a few residents about the enforcement of our sign regulations over the last several weeks. And when I took a really deep dive into it, I think that the regulations are an overreach. They have not been updated since 2009. Go ahead and pass that down, Patrick. There's one for everybody. So I took a look at it and have develops what I think is some common sense language that I would like to eventually see placed into our current sign regulations. Of course, this will have to be reviewed by Patrick from a legal standpoint, also need to be vetted through our planning and zoning, but I just passed down what I'm going to be proposing. If you look on page 5, you'll see a section under temporary signs that's highlighted. Currently, if you have a sign out that is celebrating one of our high school athletes, it's a violation. If my wife has a sign out that says Merry Christmas, that's a violation. If you have a sign out that says Happy New Year, that's a violation. So I think that the current regulations are too stringent. Reviewing it with the mayor and as well the technical review committee, I think everybody was in agreement that this hasn't been updated since 2009. There is some overreach when it comes to section 132112, which is temporary signs. So the language that I'd like to have the rest of council, planning and zoning, and of course Patrick review reads this way. This is under temporary signs. There'll be a new section, signs not requiring a permit. Up to 2 temporary signs may be permitted at any given time on any one parcel. These temporary signs may be displayed for an unspecified amount of time, meaning they can be up for as long as they would like, provided the 4 following. These signs do not contain a commercial message, except for the sale or leasing of the property on which the sign is located. Number 2, the temporary sign shall not exceed 8 square feet in sign area. Number 3, the sign shall be set back a minimum of 10 feet from the right-of-way and 10 feet from all lot lines, which is typical of a lot of our planning and zoning regulations. And then lastly, the signs do not exceed 4 feet in height. So that's the language that I would like to see the rest of council consider. I've also made some other small tweaks, but they're not really related to this particular item. Again, this is something that was brought to my attention by several residents. in talking to the mayor, and I'll let her speak to this, the Technical Review Committee asked that the city put a hold on any further enforcement of noncompliance of Section 132112 temporary signs until after council and planning and zoning and Patrick have an opportunity to review and debate this particular section. So that's what I would like to see us move forward. And I know some of the residents that reached out to me over the last several weeks are here in the audience. I definitely heard you. I appreciate you sharing with me your concerns. And this will, of course, be debated in the next, it'll take some time, has to go through a lot of committees and 3 readings at council, but it's something that will hopefully be addressed here shortly. Again, in the meantime, I'll let the mayor talk about the enforcement.
Yeah. We screwed up. Our political sign language on our space is unconstitutional.
Thank you.
It wasn't forever.
No,
It's
that was
unconstitutional.
2017.
Come on, when it was put in here,
That's correct.
neither the Ohio Supreme Court nor the U.S. Supreme Court had offered an opinion on it. And
Correct.
pretty much every township and city had restrictions on, you can put it out, 60 days before. Anyway, that's gone, that's declared unconstitutional. So that was the first reason we started looking at this, and then the mayor went beyond that.
Because you can have temporary signs, but you have to get a permit for them. And there are, and that's why John did what he did, suggesting that we do 2 signs that are not where a permit is not needed, but that needed to be changed. So that's what, we're seeking to make those changes. My only concern about the commercial message, and I don't know how we put this in there, I don't think you should have to get a permit for signs for the guy who did your, just redid your roof. And I'm not quite sure what the wording needs to be to accomplish that, but I don't think contractors need to be going and getting a sign permit either.
I just want to verify there will be no enforcement until this goes through, correct?
Okay.
I can put my contract back in the
Yes.
yard.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Windows.
Go right
Yep.
ahead. But here's the deal, as I've tried to,
Judy, can you come to the podium and your name and, because you're on the speaker, so we need to,
Oh, God.
I know.
I don't like doing this.
Name, address, and then we're good.
Okay, I'm Judy Wade, and I live on Cedar Drive.
And your address number?
14. Go past my house, you'll see the signs in my windows, my front yard, and the flags,
and we don't have any, we currently do not have any regulations at all regarding flags.
Okay, well, that's good, because we just ordered 8 more of them.
Don't say that.
No, this is, let's face it, you guys will.
You got what you wanted.
Yeah, I did, but I appreciate you guys doing this. Thank you, John. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I want to say something? What?
It's nice to meet you. We spoke on the phone, so.
I know, it wasn't a very good conversation, huh?
I got nothing to add, John nailed it. You guys, Mayor, I appreciate you taking responsibility and making change here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And your name?
James Wade, 479 Charles Avenue here in Cortland.
The one that lives right next door to,
Which I'd really like an update on what's going on next door.
Call.
But I don't want to make a complaint because I don't need headaches.
You can call the service director, or you can call me tomorrow.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has anything, I think, like I said, John, in your words, nailed it.
Yeah.
As far as, what our
You
mission
took my
going
entire
forward.
argument away. It was just, you did great. Thank you.
Thanks, John, for doing all the research and rewriting that.
I have to hear for whatever John brings up.
Well, and here, let me let you know this too. John explained this very well. It does take a process. So once it finally gets to planning and zoning will have a public hearing, and then they will vote on it, and then it will go to council, and council will have a public hearing, and then they will vote on it 3 times. So you have plenty of time to come in and speak your piece if you see something in the proposed legislation that you don't like.
How do we get copies of the legislation and how do we know when the meetings are?
Well, the
Ask
first,
John.
the first thing you could do is sign up for the e-news, and you can do that on the website, because every, e-news comes out every week, and it tells you all, when there's planning and zoning, when there's, the Parks Board, when there's council meetings. You can also find that information, and, let me back up, there's also the agendas for those meetings on that e-news. And then you can also see it on the website itself, cityofportland.org. Wanda puts that on there on the news flash, and, so that's really up to date. You could always call us at City Hall, we'll let you know. The planning and zoning meetings are the second Monday, our council meetings are the first and third Monday. Planning and zoning is at the same time, 7 o'clock on the second Monday.
And I have one more question. Okay, if you guys have two available people that can drive around in city cars.
If you come to, I hate it.
I'm doing this.
Well, see, you're not a loud talker, so that's a.
Okay, you guys have, where'd that? How did you have two workers that have nothing better to do than drive around, that we're paying for? We're paying these guys to drive around in our cars with our gas, because it's my money that's paying for all this stuff. So how can you, if these guys don't have anything better to do, why don't you lay them off and save us some money, so we don't have to live on the next levy that comes up, because you have the money to pay for it.
Okay, fair enough. They are already our employees, okay? We learned in the strategic plan that we did in 2021, 2022, that maintenance of people's properties and businesses within the city is important to our residents. So, so it's been in our plan to have somebody, proactively enforce our zoning regulations.
Mayor, if I may, I've lived in the house on Charles for 40 years now, nobody's enforced anything next door.
Okay.
And I've had trump signs in my yard since 2015.
These gentlemen just took they just took over in August. And so things are not gonna change overnight. And some problems are much more difficult to solve than others.
I know that, totally understand.
Gotcha. So, and, what do I wanna say? Proactive enforcement of our zoning regulations is not the only thing that they handle, but it is part of it. I'm gonna guess as we see it slowing down in the wintertime, they're gonna be working on EPA issues, the EPA mandates, as you are all well aware, with the lead service line, inventory that we've had to do. We have to do backflow inspections, so we're handling stuff like that. And other things that will actually be taking things off of the, service director's plate and allowing her to do other
Work on
things.
the service complex, which is going to be a long time, I'm assuming. So, like you said, 4 years, nothing's been done. Well, now we have the mechanisms and the resources in place to start going after properties that are failing to keep up with the ordinances. So, yes, that will now be part of what they're going to be observing. So,
It's been 4 years, we'll see.
yeah.
You know.
That's all I need to think about right now.
Okay, and let me give you another avenue if you, for clarity. No, I just want to explain the process. Okay, so since these guys just started in August, we haven't really started how do I want to say this? Let me just explain what the official enforcement procedure is, okay? The official enforcement proceeding begins with a letter that's mailed to your house. What we've been trying to do is make people aware of what the planning and zoning regulations are, okay? So,
These are just FYI.
yeah, basically, that's where we're at right now. We haven't started officially enforcing it. We'll probably begin to do that after the beginning of the year. It's not our desire to take anybody to court, we just wanna work with people. So, what will happen is you'll get let's just say I'm not doing something correctly, I'll get a letter. I'll have a time period in which I need to correct that violation. If I don't get it, I'll get a second letter, okay? If I don't correct it within a certain time frame, I have actually two things. I can either appeal it to the Planning and Zoning Board and say, I don't like this, I'm following this rule, or this isn't correct. And then if you don't like that, then it can go to the Planning and Zoning Appeals Board, and then after that, it goes to court. I would hope that we would never get to the point where it would go to court. That's not the desire, that's not the intent of the Planning and Zoning Ordinance either. You know, it's just a,
So what I'm hearing is I'm gonna be looking at this for another 4 years. It's obviously a very long process. Okay.
No. I would say that that's not the case. There's a certain period of time, like, I would imagine.
Did you give me time frames?
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be, once we send a letter, 30 days, we'll give you 30 days, maybe 60 days, okay? Then they'll get sent a second letter, okay? Then what happens, do you write a letter, or does it go to court then?
No, we can just take them right to court.
Okay, then we
You're
can
talking a minimal of another 6 months.
well, at least we're working on it.
Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're very
You're
welcome.
not as bad as I thought you were gonna be.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else wishing to address council? All right, well, thank you all. Are there any other questions from anyone in the council? Welcome back. All right.
Are there people?
All right. I think she's coming from our jobs.
That's
She's learning here.
Better watch out.
All right. All right, are there any comments, announcements from council?
Kevin, just one second.
Yep.
Quick comment. Just piggyback on everything that's going on. Councilman Security, thanks for the proposed legislation. So everyone covered it really nicely of the process, but just so everyone knows, during the process, it'll be debated. And things could change or get
That's
tweaked
correct.
multiple times before it ever gets to us.
Sure.
And then when it gets to us, it also could be debated and tweaked and things change. So it may not be exactly how it's written in the initial proposal. Second, I was able to call a resident today who was in the same boat and had a sign removed. And didn't like, not the sign was removed or how the sign was removed, how the person was notified. And I agreed with that person. But I also let them know, and he didn't know this, so I want to make sure everyone knows this. I said, I didn't even know this happened. It's, as council people, we don't get a report that says, this is what happened last night by associate service director. You may know because someone calls you, or you get an email, or you stumble across it online. But we're not notified that, okay, this happened. So could be a delay from someone on council understanding that there's even a possible problem to look into. And that person did not realize that, so that's something good to talk about. Also, on our website, you can click under all of our bios, there's a contact button, so you can send emails directly to us. And that's how you want to get in contact with the council person. And that person may be able to work on something with you, they may direct you to a service director, what have you. But there's steps in there so that you can find someone who maybe can help you or take the first step. But a lot of people don't realize that that's what the first step is, and it just maybe takes a little bit of time. So I want to make sure everyone was understood that those things are there, and there is a way to get a hold of people. Sometimes you have to seek it out a little bit. But I think what we're doing here is good, and I can't wait to see the final legislation. I think it's going to make it easier for everybody.
Thank you for adding those points.
Yeah, it goes back to history of overzealous enforcement. when I ran for school board in 1999. The city employees went around with a tape measure and measured to make sure it was 10, all the signs were 10 feet.
That's
they're
what
out
I
there-
got.
They were out there doing, and then they picked up all the signs, and I had to go down, it wasn't just mine, it was everybody running for office, and had to go to pick them up down at the service garage. So, and they apologized after the fact that, made more work, but somebody just was a little overzealous in what they were doing, and they went right by the letter of the ordinance, it was like,
I mean, they did what's in the books. But now there's a moratorium and signs, you're done.
Training would probably help.
Pardon me?
Training would probably help with your son. Oh, no. There, you don't want me up here, you know that.
You don't want me up here, Mayor.
And thank you. Thank you and thank you. You know
Name?
Dennis Lewis, 165 East Main Street. I've had an issue with zoning also. It was back in September. Talked to the mayor, thought it was all worked out until I seen the meeting that night and she laughed, and then I looked at the notes.
Excuse me?
You giggled when you said there's a problem during the meeting. You did. Because I watched the meeting, that's what upset me, and that's when you got the phone call. So, I do my investigation, I put some document, so you guys know publicly. You guys have to understand some of the things that have been going on in the city. I talked to Kevin for almost an hour on this issue, and I brought up the same zoning violation to him that night, or that day we talked, Kevin. And he says, oh, it's a First Amendment violation. I said, well, I agree 100%, but it's still in your zoning.
The First Amendment is something different, we didn't talk about First Amendment.
Oh, yes, we did. It's a constitutional First Amendment violation of the signs. When I asked you about the signs, because I
Oh, the
reported...
signs, I thought we were talking about the
No,
other.
we're staying on it.
Okay,
Staying on the signs.
because we started with the,
I know what we
Okay.
started with, but we're on the signs.
okay.
That's a whole different issue. That I will, but we had a conversation and he told me that the Constitution, and I agreed with him. Find out, I read this, and then we have, about 6 or 7, 8 different residents had signs pulled from their yards. It's a total violation. And when I tell them, city council knew this. City council knew this. Your service director knew this. And you still allowed your associate service directors to go out and do it.
Excuse me, I'm gonna just interrupt here. We didn't realize that until they were doing it, and may I also ask,
Okay.
there are numerous communities throughout the state of Ohio that still have this on their books.
They're out, they're.
I agree. That, we're talking about Portland City. I'm not talking about other communities, we're talking about Portland City. That is where the problem lies. Why did this even was allowed by a city council or the service director or the mayor, which is her direct supervisor, correct?
Why was what allowed?
Letting people go out and do unconstitutional things.
We didn't realize it was happening until they did it and somebody called us.
Sir, again, the service director works for you. They had to get some type of order, command, directive to go out and do this.
To enforce the planning and zoning regulations.
Correct, they did. But you should have, as you guys all were aware of this, don't do this one, this is going to put us liable for pulling people's signs. But you did.
Well,
And here's the thing, I agree that you said, oh.
We messed up.
We messed up. No apology.
I apologize.
Thank you, and to the rest of the community that happened to.
I apologize.
I will say she did apologize originally when she acknowledged that she did
But
actually
this is a
apologize.
public, this is public.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Thank
This is
you.
a public
I
meeting.
let everybody know that
This is a public meeting.
And I'm gonna tell you something else too. Like the law director said, this zoning ordinance was written in 2009, was never proactively enforced. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna find, there's probably other stuff that's gonna be problematic. We
Okay.
won't know until we,
start digging into
yeah.
it.
So call us.
No problem.
Oh, I will.
I know you will.
Kevin, I'm.
That's fine.
First one to bring.
I won't call.
We've had many meetings over the years, Judy.
Well, if anything changes on this,
Oh.
well, you know where I live, John, you know where to come out of the house, let me know, 'cause
Excuse me, wait, and I'd like you to come up here and not speak on
You,
the
you don't order me to do nothing. I'm the public. You're the servant, right? Is that not correct?
No, I am not a servant.
You're a public servant, yes, you are.
Well, there are decorum and there are rules for city council, and we
But-
ask that if you're gonna speak, you go to the.
I did, but she ordered me to go back up there. She asked me, and I
Thank
declined.
you, yes.
I
yes.
declined your request.
Fine, then we're done with that and we can move on.
Thank you.
I'm happy right now, if you guys go ahead and do what you guys are gonna do.
I'm happy you're happy.
Well,
All
should be happy.
Thanks, Judy. All right. We have a motion for adjournment, please. So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
John McCormick, Carrie,
Yes.
Scott Rowley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Fletcher,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Cyrus.
Yes.
Thanks, John, thanks, Kevin, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you all.
It is gonna take us a while. We have a couple of problems.
Yeah, I can fix it.